Okay, just now we already successfully calculating the design load of a slab into a beam of beam A12. Okay, but on the top of the beam we also have other structures members such as a wall. Okay, say this is the slab. So this is the slab. Okay, beneath the slab we have I-beam, the universal beam that been selected. Okay, so say this is the I-beam. Okay, it is supported by a column. Okay, so it is supported by a column. Okay, and on the top of the beam we have a brick wall. Okay, so we have a brick wall. Okay, so we got to identify the load acting, okay, on the column. Okay, if you want to calculate the load acting on the beam, we have to consider a load from a slab, okay, so this is a load from a slab where we have a concrete slab and a tiling as a finishing of a slab, where it will be transfer the load to the beam. Okay, instead of that we also have a load from a wall, and we also have to calculate the self weight of the beam. So to calculate a load from a wall to a beam, okay, a wall is considered as a permanent load. Okay, so we have to identify the specifications of wall. Have been identified before. It is made from a clay brick, and it is a 3 meter height of wall with 100 mm thickness. From the specifications identified, the density of bricks is about 2000 kg per meter cube. So we write here, okay, brick wall density is 2000 kg per meter cube. As usual, we have to change it into kilonewton. So times 10 divided by 1000. So we will have about 2000 times 10 divided by 1000. So it's about 20 kilonewton per meter cube. So we have to change, we have to clear the meter cube. We multiply with the area of wall. Okay, area of wall, where we have the area of wall is length. Okay, the length of wall times the height of wall multiply with the thickness of wall. Okay, so the volume of wall is 3 meter height multiply with length of wall, which is 5 meter, multiply with thickness of wall, which is 100 mm or 0.1 meter. So the volume is 3 times 5 times 0.1. We will have about 1.5 meter cube. So here we multiply with 1.5 meter cube, then we'll get about 30 kilonewton, and divide by 5 meter, we will have a load of 6 kilonewton per meter of a wall. Okay, And then finally we have a weight of beam. Okay, we also have a weight of beam. Okay, from the specification we identify that the weight of beam is about 23.1 kilogram per meter. We just to change it into a kilonewton, times by 10 divided by 1000. Okay, so 23.1 times 10 divided by 1000, we will have 0.23 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Okay, by having all the loads, now we can calculate the total load acting on the beam A12, where once again we have to calculate the design load, which is 1.35 GK plus 1.5 QK. Okay, here we have 1.35 times GK. The first GK is the wall, sorry, the slab. So the load of slab is about 3. The thickness is about the finishing is 0.06, and then we have wall. Okay, the brick wall is about 0.23. This is the weight of beam, sorry, and then the weight of wall is about 6. And this is the value of GK. Okay, once again I repeat, 3 is referred to the weight of slab, 0.06 is weight of finishing, 0.23 is the weight of beam, self weight of beam, and then 6 is the weight of brick wall. And then we have to multiply with 1.5 times the QK. Okay, the QK is about 2.4, and this is the total value of loads that acting on beam A12, where we have 3 plus 0.06 plus 0.23 plus 6 multiplied with 1.35. Okay, and then plus 1.5 times 2.4. So here we have a load of 16.14 kilonewton per meter. So this is the load acting. Okay, if we are changing into schematic diagram, okay, we will find there is two reaction. Okay, this is the reactions of A1 and this is the reactions of A2. And then we have a uniformly distributed load on it, okay, with a value of 16.14 kilonewton per meter on a span of 5 meter length. Okay, from this you can calculate the reaction. We have to calculate the reaction. You got to identify the shear maximum and also the moment maximum, okay, of the beam. Okay, alright, so that will be the end of session. Good luck and see you again. Okay guys, just now we are calculating a loads acting on beam A12. What will be happen if we've been assigned to calculate a load on beam 1AC? So this will be the load, okay, 1AC. So this will be the beam that will be calculate, okay, that we should calculate. Okay, so what will happen here, we are going to have another area to be calculated. So since this is a two-way slab as well, okay, so the crack pattern will be something like this. Okay, and since there is no column here, there will become a point load. Okay, it will become a point load. So which area will be covered in this calculation? Okay, so we will have the first area will be this area, this area, this area, and this area. Okay, so from here you got to calculate a load acting on B12 first. Okay, so you got to calculate a load on beam B12. So here you will have a reactions of R1 and you will have a reactions of R2. Okay, and then you may have a uniformly distributed load here. Okay, since you want to calculate a load acting on a beam of 1 AC, okay, so you will have to calculate beam B12 first in order to get a reactions of R1. Because there is no column, so R1 will become a point load into beam 1 AC. So here we will have R1. Instead of that, you may also have a uniformly distributed load come from these two areas. Okay, so here you will have a reactions of RA and you will have a reaction of RC. Okay, so you got to calculate the reactions, you got to calculate the shear force maximum and the bending moment maximum. Alright, thank you. Okay, now I want to share with you on how to calculate a load on a column. Okay, on a column. Okay, in column you might have three type of column. The first one is column having an axial load only. Okay, axial load only. The second one, you may have a column with uniaxial. Where you have a point load and you may also have a moment on Y direction, on one direction only. Okay, you may also have a column that called biaxial. The biaxial column is having an axial load with both directions of moment. You might have mx and you also may have my. Okay, but for ECS 444 we are only focusing on the column with an axial load only. Okay, so let's say we have a plan, a floor plan like this, and we also have identified the locations of column. Okay, assume that all the beams is a simply supported beam, so we don't have a moment at all the support. Since we don't have a moment at all the support, okay, so we got to calculate the loads acting on the column. Say we want to calculate loads on column 2C. Okay, column 2C. Okay, so I take out column 2C. Take out column 2C. So we have column 1A. We also have column 1C. 1C, we have 2C. We also have 3C. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to calculate a load acting on beam C12 and also load on C23, and then you got to find the reaction. So from here you may get a reactions of R1, here you will have a reactions of R2, and here you will have a reactions of R3. Okay, so here you have R1C. Okay, here you will have 2. Okay, you will have R2. So R2, okay, will be 2 groups, or we can divide it into schematic diagram like this. Here you have R1, you will have R2, here also you will have R2, and here you will have R3. So total P is equivalent to R2 plus R2. R21 plus R2A plus R2B. Then you will get the pressure acting on column 2C. So what is the pressure acting on column 3C? It will be, okay, another beam there where we'll have 3C, and then we also have 3B. So here we'll have 2 3C, okay, 3CA and 3CB. So P at the column of C will be 3CA plus 3CB.